Isaac Vellner didn't mean to start a galactic incident when he sneezed on the ambassador. He had been sick for 3 days, maybe 4. He'd lost track after the second box of tissues turned into a makeshift pillow on the metal bench outside the United Earth Coalition's Interplanetary Research Pavilion. He hadn't wanted to come in, but the briefing had been marked red priority. Red meant critical. Red meant show up or get replaced, so he showed up. The ambassador from the Tharkson Union, a 10-foot-tall being that looked like a skeletal tree covered in pale bark and mossy growths, had just extended a limb in greeting when Isaac's body betrayed him with a violent, chest-rattling sneeze. "Sorry," Isaac said, voice hoarse, eyes watering. "I'm getting over something." The translator drone buzzed, relaying his words to the Tharkson. The ambassador recoiled, its limbs curling inward like scorched leaves. "You are infected." The voice that came from the drone was deep and monotone. "You carry the Viralian strain." "What?" Isaac blinked. No, it's just a cold. You know, runny nose, sore throat, the usual, not a big deal." The ambassador didn't respond. Instead, it turned and floated levitated, really out of the room, its aides rushing after it, shouting in a language too fast for the translator to keep up. Isaac wiped his nose on his sleeve and looked over at Dr. Trina Jollers, the virologist assigned to the UK's Alien Pathogen Containment Unit. "Did I just cause an interstellar lockdown?" he rasped. Trina didn't answer. She was already on her communicator speaking rapidly to someone on the orbital station. By the time the day was over, Earth was under quarantine. 3 days later, Isaac was still coughing but no longer contagious. Or so the medical unit said. He sat in a white containment cube, wrapped in a blanket, sipping lukewarm broth while 24 alien representatives watched him from behind a glass wall. Some had extra eyes. Some had none. One was just a floating jellyfish with a crown of flaring bioluminescence. "This is absurd," Isaac muttered. "Try not to talk too much," Trina said through the intercom. "Your vocal stress levels are still elevated and you're under observation." "For a head cold, for what they're calling the Viralian strain," Trina said, "they isolated a sample from your saliva. Apparently it's a viral subtype none of them have encountered. It's mutating too fast for their immune systems to model." Isaac blinked. "Wait, are you saying I gave them a virus?" "Not quite. You sneezed on one of their high chancellors." That was enough for the Tharkson to run a full biohazard protocol. The ambassadors from the Jurelian Axis and the Drex Coalition picked it up from air particles. They've all gone into emergency stasis. What? You infected 3 intergalactic species, Trina said. By sneezing. Isaac stared at the glass wall. Behind it, several of the observers took cautious steps back. The Drex Coalition issued the first formal statement 2 days later. The Viralian strain, they said, had caused massive neurological inflammation in the exposed Drex subjects, one of whom had attempted to merge with a central power conduit in a state of fevered delirium. The Jurelians declared it a Class 7 bio-threat. The Tharksons called for Earth's immediate removal from the Interplanetary Council, pending full immunological deconstruction of the native species. Isaac was moved to a different containment chamber, this one underground, with heavier doors and more cameras. "I'm not even sick anymore," he said as a nurse in a hazmat suit took another swab from his cheek. "You still carry trace amounts of the virus," Trina said from behind a sterilized observation port. "It's harmless to humans, but it's a nightmare for everyone else." "Why isn't it doing anything to me?" Trina hesitated. "That's what's confusing them," she said. "The viral genome you're carrying mutates every 6 hours. They can't model it. Their immune systems collapse trying to adapt. But your body just handles it like it's nothing, like it's part of your normal microbial flora." "Because it is," Isaac said. "Everyone gets colds. Not like this, not with that rate of mutation." "So what now? I'm patient 0 for the apocalypse?" "Not the apocalypse," Trina said. "Just a really, really bad cold for them." For the next week, Isaac was poked, scanned, and studied by teams of xenobiologists, some of whom refused to be in the same room with him. His blood was shipped off-world in sealed stasis canisters for analysis. Every cough was logged. Every sneeze was isolated as a new variant. The Interplanetary Council released a bulletin declaring the Vellner strain biologically unbeatable by contemporary xenomedical standards. Isaac read the bulletin while lying in bed, sipping tea. "Unbeatable," he muttered. "I beat it in 5 days." The nurse on duty gave him a look, but didn't say anything. It wasn't until the Grellan delegation arrived that things escalated. The Grellan were a reptilian species known for their hyper-efficient immune systems. They'd survived pandemics that wiped out other planets. They volunteered to test the Vellner strain directly, confident their bodies would adapt. They didn't. Within hours of exposure, the lead Grellan biologist collapsed in the testing dome, convulsing from what Earth doctors later identified as viral encephalitis. He was rushed into suspended animation. The rest of his team followed within the day. Trina found Isaac in his room watching a documentary on ancient Earth plagues. "You're not going to like this," she said. "Did someone else get sick?" "No, they want to use you," Isaac frowned. "For what?" "As a model," she said. "For immune response, they think your body might be the only one capable of countering the strain. They're calling it the Vellner immunity." "I didn't ask for that. They know." "But you're the only known organism that can clear the virus without suffering a total system collapse." "So what do they want me to do? Bleed into a petri dish?" "Not quite," she said. "They want you to go up there, to the research orbital. They want to study your immune system in real time." Isaac set down his tea. "I'm not a lab rat." "I know. That's why I told them you'd only go if you agreed." He looked at her, then at the ceiling. "Fine," he said. "But I'm not flying coach." The research orbital was a kilometer-wide station floating above Earth's atmosphere, a joint project between 5 alien species and the UEC. Isaac arrived strapped into a pressure-sanitized shuttle, wearing a suit that made him look like an astronaut stuffed into a hazmat burrito. Inside the station, he was met by a team of medical specialists led by a Drex named Hallen. Hallen had no eyes, spoke in low-frequency pulses, and required the translator drone to be surgically attached to its thoracic cavity. "You are the source," Hallen said as Isaac stepped into the sterile dome. "I prefer Isaac. You will provide answers. Your immunity may hold the key to universal stabilization." "No pressure," Isaac muttered. The next few days blurred together into a cycle of blood draws, lung scans, immune cell isolation, and neural mapping. The Vellner strain, as it turned out, had a unique capability. It didn't kill its host outright, but rather overclocked the immune response until the body couldn't handle the workload. Most species suffered catastrophic organ failure within 24 hours. Humans, for reasons no one could yet explain, simply sneezed it out. "We found something," Trina said over a secure line from Earth. "Your body's producing a class of antibodies we've never seen before. They're not even coded in your DNA. They're being synthesized spontaneously." "Sounds great. Except I still feel like someone stuffed cotton in my brain." "That's normal," she said. "What's not normal is that your immune system is adapting faster than the virus can mutate. It's rewriting itself in real time." "Wait. Are you saying my immune system is doing software updates?" "In a way, yes, and the aliens can't do that. Their immune systems are hard-coded, no flexibility, no redundancy." Isaac rubbed his forehead. "So we've got the most flexible immune systems in the galaxy. Because we've spent our whole existence getting sick, pretty much." The council reconvened 10 days after the outbreak. Hallen presented the findings in a sealed chamber. The Vellner strain was declared a Class 0 anomaly, uncontainable, unvaccinable, untreatable by any known alien method. It had infected over 200 non-human individuals across 6 species. Hospitals in 3-star systems were overwhelmed. Only humans remained unaffected. Isaac stood in the observation deck, watching the stars beyond the curved glass. "They're scared of us now," he said. Trina stood beside him, arms crossed. "They're not scared of us," she said. "They're scared of what we survive." Isaac turned to her. "So what now, she said. "They want to use your immune data to build synthetic immune templates. You might have just saved half the council from collapse." Isaac sighed. "Funny," he said. "All because I didn't stay home with a cold." Trina smiled faintly. "Next time, maybe you will." "Next time," Isaac said. "I'm wearing a full face mask." Behind them, the stars glittered silently, unaware of how close they had come to extinction by a virus that Earth's immune systems had shaken off with a sneeze. The first thing Isaac saw when he stepped into the observation dome was a rotating column of green mist suspended in a cylindrical tank. It churned slowly, like a cloud trapped in syrup. A dozen aliens ringed the platform around it, all of them armed with tablets, scanners, or some kind of floating diagnostic orb that blinked in tandem with their gestures. "Is that me?" Isaac asked, squinting at the mist. "You," said Hallen, hunched beside a data conduit, "and approximately 800 million active viral particles extracted from your upper respiratory tract. We stabilized them for analysis." He raised an eyebrow. "You stabilized my mucus. We refined it," said a tall insectoid with translucent wings that vibrated whenever it spoke. The viral load was interspersed with epithelial debris and salivary enzymes. We isolated the pathogen and suspended it in a xenon-based vapor matrix. "It's harmless now." "Define harmless," Isaac muttered, but no one answered. Instead, the Grellan immuno-expert, a wide-framed biped with scales like liquid chrome, stepped forward. "Subject Vellner," it said. "Your biological readings during the last immune spike have produced results we cannot account for." "I'd say I'm surprised," Isaac said, "but I've been sneezed on by a Comrie diplomat and watched a jellyfish have an existential breakdown after reading my antibody report, so I guess this is Tuesday now." The Grellan ignored the remark and activated a projection. A spiral of data bloomed in midair, rotating with slow elegance. "This," it said, "is your immunoglobulin cascade following a second exposure to the virulent strain. Your body neutralized the mutation in under 17 minutes. That should be impossible." Isaac stared at the twisting helix. "I've had food poisoning that lasted longer than that." "Your leukocytes are behaving erratically," said the insectoid, tapping a floating graph. "They're not following any recognizable immune protocol. The T-cell recruitment pattern is chaotic." "Chaotic," Isaac repeated. "Like malfunctioning?" "No," said Hallen. "Like unpredictable. Organic systems are not supposed to outpace viral evolution. Yours is not adapting, it is preempting." Isaac looked around the room. "And that's bad for us," said the insectoid. "If your immune system can anticipate mutations, it means your species may possess biological foresight. We have no models for that." Isaac exhaled slowly. "I'm a glorified lab rat with a magic immune system." "Great." The Grellan tilted its head. "We would like to attempt direct inoculation." Isaac's eyes widened. "You want to infect me again? You've already cleared 2 strains," Hallen said. "We believe exposure to a third may trigger further enhancements." "I'm not a Pokemon," no one responded. "I'm not doing it without medical supervision from Earth," Isaac added. Hallen turned toward the insectoid. "Your request is noted. We will allow your human virologist access to our biochambers." "Trina's coming up?" Isaac asked. "She is en route," said the insectoid. "Her shuttle is scheduled to dock in 18 Earth minutes." Isaac relaxed slightly. "Good, I trust her." The Grellan extended a metallic arm holding a sealed vial. "Until she arrives, we will prepare a microdose." Isaac backed up half a step. "Let's define micro." 1 billion virions, the insectoid said. He blinked. "That's not micro, it is by Drexian standards." Isaac sighed. "I miss Earth. Earth had soup." "Soup is available in the nutrition ward," the Grellan offered. We have cataloged 37,000 variations. None of them taste like chicken noodle, I bet. The insectoid made a noise like a camera shutter. We do not understand the appeal of avian cartilage broth. Isaac rubbed his face. I'm not explaining that. 40 minutes later, he sat inside a transparent dome the size of a walk-in closet, wearing a breathable suit laced with biometric sensors. A single line ran from the wall to his arm, carrying the microdose they'd promised. Trina stood just outside, arms folded, her hair tied back in a tight knot that always meant she was annoyed. You let them inject you. They said it was only 1 billion virions. You know how that sounds, right? Honestly, I've stopped being surprised. Trina tapped the screen embedded in the glass. Your cytokine levels are already climbing, platelet activities spiking too. Are you dizzy? No more than usual, she frowned. That's not comforting. Isaac leaned back. The dome adjusted its lighting, compensating for his rising body temperature. He felt the ache hit his shoulders first, then his lower back. Okay, yeah, maybe a little worse than usual. Trina activated a secondary screen. Your immune system's doing something weird again. Weird how? The B cells are skipping the usual memory sequencing. It's like they already know what to do. Every time you get exposed, they get faster. Great, he said through gritted teeth. I'll be invincible by Thursday. Don't joke. They're watching everything. He glanced toward the upper deck where a semicircle of alien scientists observed from behind polarized glass. Do any of them blink? Only when nervous, Trina said, which apparently happens every time you sneeze. Isaac winced as a pulse of heat hit his chest. I think it's kicking in. Hang on, Trina said, adjusting the feed. Your bone marrow output just doubled. Isaac blinked sweat from his eyes. I didn't know that could happen. It shouldn't. But apparently you didn't get the memo. He leaned his head back against the dome. Why is it always me? Because you've got the immune system of a sci-fi protagonist and the luck of a man who licked a subway pole. 2 hours later, the fever broke. Isaac sat on the edge of the medical platform, sipping rehydration fluid that tasted vaguely metallic. His skin was clammy, but the ache had faded. Trina scanned his vitals twice, then leaned against the wall. You're clear. That fast, faster than last time. Your body didn't even trigger a full inflammatory response. Isaac squinted at the ceiling. So what? I'm evolving? I don't know what to call it. Hallen entered, flanked by 2 others. The dome's outer panel slid open with a soft hiss. You survived. Isaac rolled his eyes. Thanks for the vote of confidence. We have simulated your antibody behavior using Drexian modeling systems, Hallen said. Our projections failed. Your immune response defies all known patterns. I've been told I'm difficult to predict. We believe you may represent a divergent immunological pathway. Trina stepped forward. What are you implying? That his biology may be incompatible with standard galactic classification. He is not merely immune, he is adaptive. Isaac frowned. Adaptive to what? To everything, Hallen said. The insectoid approached from the side, holding a folded display. We have a proposal, it said. Your immune cells exhibit rapid recombination capacity. If we can replicate that mechanism synthetically, we may develop universal prophylactics. Isaac raised an eyebrow. You want to build alien immune systems based on mine, in essence. Trina looked skeptical. You can't just copy human immunity. Our systems are interconnected with environmental factors, genetic drift, epigenetic layers. We are aware. Our initial simulations are already underway. Isaac rubbed his temples. I was a translator. I taught Martian dialects to diplomats. Now I'm the blueprint for galactic biodefense. The Grelin made a low clicking noise. You are no longer merely human, you are precedent. Isaac stared at the floor. Do I get a plaque or something? Hallen gestured to the mist-filled tank. You may name the strain. No thanks, Isaac said. Last time I named something it turned out to be a fungus that ate through concrete. Trina tilted her head. That was you. Long story. By the end of the 4th week, Isaac had undergone 5 controlled exposures, each more virulent than the last. None had lasted beyond a single day. His immune system had begun producing proteins no one could trace to human DNA. One of the Drex specialists hypothesized that his body was synthesizing temporary immunological algorithms, organic code made from cell memory. They called it the Vellner sequence. He called it annoying. Trina handed him a new chart. Your spleen is doing something new. Knew how? It's communicating with your thymus. I thought those didn't talk. They don't, not normally. Isaac groaned. I need a vacation. Hallen slid into view. There is a moon on the edge of the Vrami cluster. No atmosphere, no pathogens. You may find it restful. Isaac looked at Trina. Tell me that was a joke. He's been practicing humor. It's not going well. Hallen blinked. I will recalibrate. Isaac stood, stretching. His joints popped audibly. You know what I'd kill for? Trina raised an eyebrow. A blanket that smells like laundry detergent, and maybe a sandwich that doesn't involve synthetic meat paste. She nodded. I'll see what I can do. As she left, Hallen remained. Your resilience is not just physical, it said. You adapt behaviorally under pressure. That is rare. Isaac gave a tired smile. You haven't seen me try to file taxes. Hallen tilted its head. Is that a form of warfare? Isaac sighed. In a way, yeah. Hallen watched him for a moment longer, then turned away. Behind the observation glass, the cloud in the tank spun gently, the color shifting from green to pale gold. The room had no corners. It was a deliberate design, meant to reduce psychological stress in multi-sensory species that interpreted sharp angles as signs of entrapment. Isaac found it mildly disorienting. Every wall curved into the next, the ceiling a gentle dome lit by diffuse panels that adjusted to his circadian rhythm. He sat on a medical platform that hovered just above the floor, legs swinging, while an URAC technician extended an arm that split into 4 gloved appendages. I'm not contagious, Isaac said, watching the gloved fingers hold a scanner steady against his neck. You're wasting your time. This is not for infection control, the URAC answered, its translator producing a slow, almost sing-song cadence. We are mapping your lymphatic rhythm. That's a thing, for humans, apparently. He glanced at the technician's eyes, or rather, the single compound eye that glowed faintly violet under the ambient light. Do you have lymph nodes? He asked. The URAC paused. No. We circulate immunocytes through peristaltic vascular modulations. Right, Isaac said. So vitamin smoothies with ambition. The URAC didn't respond. It made 3 quick gestures to a nearby console. A Drexian analyst, seated behind a suspended display, tapped its clawed digit along a floating waveform. The oscillation pattern remains irregular, it said. There is no stable baseline. That's normal for humans, Trina said from behind a transparent barrier. Hormonal fluctuations, stress, hydration, even ambient temperature can affect lymphatic flow. The Drexian straightened its posture. That is not a system. That is barely controlled chaos, Trina nodded. Welcome to immunology. Isaac slid off the platform, stretching his arms overhead. So, am I done being a biological curiosity, or are we still poking me with things today? We are nearly complete, the URAC said. One final simulation remains. He looked over at Trina. What now? You need me to jog in place, drink questionable fluids. Hug a contaminated plant. She stepped into the room, pulling off her gloves. No, you're going to sit in a chamber with a bioemitter tuned to your own antibody resonance. Isaac blinked. Wait, you're going to blast me with my own immune signature. Not exactly. We're projecting a modulated frequency generated from your T-cell receptor patterns. It's non-invasive. The goal is to see if your immune system reacts to its own predictive coding. Let me get this straight, he said, frowning. You're going to see if my body can anticipate an immune response it hasn't even had yet. Correct, the Drexian said. It is a closed-loop test. I'm starting to feel like an immune-themed amusement ride. Trina gestured toward a circular doorway that had opened in the far wall. "It'll take 5 minutes, then you're done." The chamber inside was barely large enough for Isaac to stand upright. The walls shimmered faintly, lined with arrays that looked like metallic petals angled toward him. He sat on the reclined seat in the center and tried not to think about how many species had probably been disintegrated in rooms that looked like this. A soft tone signaled the start of the simulation. At first, nothing happened. Then a warmth spread across his chest, not unpleasant, more like sitting in sunlight after a cold day. He closed his eyes. "I feel like I'm being microwaved by good intentions," he said. "Your vitals are stable," Trina's voice came through a speaker. "No spikes in cytokine markers. Wait, hold on. Your adrenal levels just dipped. That's supposed to be bad, right?" "No," she said. "It means you're calming down. That shouldn't happen under immune stimulation." Isaac opened one eye. "So I'm relaxing when I should be freaking out. Your T cells are decreasing activity. It's like your body knows the threat isn't real." The simulation shut down. The petals folded inward with a faint hiss. Isaac stood, rubbing his arms. "Can we call that a win?" The Drexian was already tapping notes into its screen. "Your immune system is responding to projected threats with selective dormancy. It is prioritizing efficiency over aggression." "That sounds okay." Trina stepped into the chamber, scanning his pupils. "It means your immune system is getting smarter." Isaac narrowed his eyes. "How smart are we talking?" "Not sentient," she said quickly. "Just responsive, like an algorithm that rewrites itself based on what it thinks you'll need." He sat back down on the reclined seat, staring up at the curved ceiling. "So what you're saying is I've got predictive immunity." The Drexian nodded. "We have no term for it. You may name it." "I'm not naming it. That's how you end up with something called Vellner's syndrome and no privacy for the rest of your life." Trina crossed her arms. "It's not a syndrome. It's a gift. Gifts don't usually come with blood draws and fever dreams." "You've stabilized the strain," she said. "All the exposed species are recovering. They're synthesizing inoculants based on your antibody data. You've done what none of their medical systems could." He rubbed the back of his neck. "So what happens now?" The Drexian closed its display. "Now you are no longer required." Isaac blinked. "That's it? Your data has been replicated," it said. "Your strain has been neutralized. The Council will lift the quarantine within 24 galactic cycles." Trina smiled. "You're going home." He let the words sink in. No more sterile domes. No more translator drones hovering at his shoulder. No more being watched like a Petri dish with legs. "I don't even know what I'll do," he admitted. "I've been poked so much I forgot what it's like to wear socks." "You'll figure it out," she said. "You always do." 2 days later, Isaac sat on a transport shuttle descending toward Earth's upper atmosphere. The sky outside shifted from black to blue as the curvature of the planet filled the viewport. A Drexian envoy had offered him a commemorative plaque etched with his antibody sequences. He left it behind. Trina sat beside him, holding a cup of coffee that had cost more than her first apartment. She took a sip and made a face. "Tastes like regret." Isaac chuckled. "Still better than protein broth." She leaned her head against the seat. "You know, they're calling it the Vellner threshold, the point where immune systems stop reacting and start learning." He looked out the window. "Sounds fancy." "They asked me if you'd be open to consulting." He turned to her. "On what?" "Designing adaptive immunity for synthetic biology, basically building smarter immune systems." He considered that. "I think I've earned a nap first." "You've earned more than that." The shuttle touched down with a smooth jolt. A wave of warm, unfiltered air rolled in as the hatch opened. The scent of damp soil, exhaust, and something vaguely floral filled his lungs. It wasn't sterile, it wasn't filtered. It was home. He stepped out, blinking in the sunlight. A field team in UEC jackets waved from a distance, but no one approached. He was no longer a threat, no longer a specimen, just human again. Trina adjusted her bag and walked beside him. "You okay?" He nodded slowly. "Yeah. I think I'm finally done sneezing on galactic diplomacy." She grinned. Let's hope it stays that way. And together, they walked toward the decontamination checkpoint, the sun behind them, and the weight of the galaxy's most unbeatable virus left in the dust of a cough that never stood a chance.